Hey, good morning. Can you hear me okay, yeah, Elush? Because I didn't plug in the microphone. I don't know if I need a separate microphone or this is loud enough. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Be loud and strong?
Yes, very loud.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Oh, it took a lot of siyata dishmaya to get here. Okay. So good morning. It's Reva Emunah. It is April 5th, 2022. Dalid Nisan Hatafshin Pei Bet. And we're learning this morning in Sfat. Bezat Hashem, we're going to do Hachana for Pesach. And we'll see what flows through. I had a lot of changes of plan today. So we'll just see where Hashem leads us and guides us, because I have 6 Sfarim here next to me. And I was not actually planning on teaching today. We had a tiyul planned. So we're just going to see the gates that Hashem opens. And I think we'll start with Rabbi Nachman, and we'll see, what gates it opens in our heart and our body. So just want to invite everybody for a moment to including me, to just land in the space and allow yourself to be here, allow yourself to be in a space of receptivity, right, of what we call Kabbalah, right? We toss that word around so often, like I'm learning Kabbalah, I'm teaching Kabbalah, but what we're really saying is the secrets of how to receive light, how to receive energy and love and shefa and guidance and wisdom, how to receive connection on all levels, right? First and foremost, the connection to the Ol Ein Sof, to the infinite, endless light, Hashem. And just take a moment to even notice that you're already receiving right now in the space. In your next breath, that's already receiving everything that you need for this moment. And there is really no other moment. There's moments in our memory and in our imagination, but the real moment is right now. So right now, just notice all of the conditions for happiness in your space, and that's the inner space and the spaces around you right now, right here already. Right? It could be your breath, it could be the comfortable couch, it could be this beautiful weather, it could be connection with other like-minded people who are seeking to practice elevation. It could mean just a break from Pesach cleaning, right? So just slowing down and allowing yourself to be here and be present. And if you notice anything pulling you out of the space, right? Anxiety, what you need to get done, or worries, or discomfort in your body, or a situation in your life, whatever that is, see if you can invite it and dafka bring it here for healing. Because when we join our energy fields, our will and our intention and our desire to receive, right, together, and what we mean is the desire to receive. And then the second half of that sentence is in order to share. right? We say it in Hebrew, haratzon lekabel, al menat lehashpia tov le'achirim. And what we really mean is to enter into flow. So we become part of the flow, receiving and giving, receiving and giving, receiving and giving. And that has a ripple effect. And the more that we step in with an open vessel, and by open, we mean that layers of our own fears and beliefs and stories and triggers and impulses and desires have been either shed or opened or transformed and elevated, then the more light we're able to take in. And the more deeply we ourselves are nourished with light. And by light, we mean the source of all good. The source of all good. We experience sometimes a separation between material or physical blessings and spiritual blessings, such as love or wisdom or awareness and consciousness. But at the source, right, it's all flowing from the Ein Sof. And it touches every part of our life and every part of our being. So we might also just begin with our set aside prayer. Please, Hashem, help us to set aside everything we think we know about Pesach, about Galut, about Geulah, about Leil HaSeder, about Nisan. Help us to set aside everything we think we know, including me, right? In other words, supposedly the teacher. Help me set aside everything I think I know to be an open channel and vessel for your message and your wisdom and your healing and your light. Very specifically for every person who's here today, sitting here, both live and on Zoom, and anybody and everybody who's listening to this recording at any time. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, everybody. So we are in, we may be jumping around. I just don't know. We have a stack of Sfarim here. Good morning. Oh, it's beautiful. We're just starting. It took a little to get the tech going, but it happened. Hashem helped. So we're going to just begin with Likutei Halachot, Hilchot Pesach. So if anybody's following along, it looks like this. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot we have a special screen here, so it won't show the Sefer. Likutei Halachot, it's in Chelek Orach Chaim, right? The paths of life. In my set, it's Chelek Shlishi, but I think it's not the same in everybody's set. So Likutei Halachot, Orach Chaim, Hilchot Pesach. That's where we are. Take a moment, those of you just arrived, just to land, to breathe, to come into the space, to feel yourself, to feel the people next to you, because our neshamas are creating a shared vessel to receive See if you can bring any chametz that you're having a hard time cleaning, clearing, releasing, and just offer it into the middle of the space that are the shared light, the shared intention, and the shared ma'asim, the shared action everyone took to come and bring their presence here, right? So first and foremost, see if there's an ache, pain, something scratchy, something stuck. It could be in your physical body. It could be in your heart, in your emotional body. It could be a worrisome thought or belief about yourself or your life or Hashem or Pesach, right? And without watering it right now, just offer it as your Korban Pesach into the space to be burned and consumed in the light of love and of consciousness and of Hashem's guidance. That's what we're here to receive. We're here together to receive revelation in the flavor of Nisan and in the flavor of Geula and Pesach. And then maybe take another minute to set an intention. Please, Hashem, may everybody in this room have that healing, have a Geula, really be brought out of their suffering, their pain, whatever is blocking them from the inside or from the outside, in seeing their true light and having a direct and loving experience of you, Hashem, in every area of their life, in every Gilgul. You'd be amazed. I can already feel the difference in the room. Do you feel that? When we open our hearts to wish it for everybody else, already the energy starts to elevate. My whole body is having goosebumps. You can feel it, right? Now take a moment to expand that a little bit. Everybody in your community and Svat, that includes people that we have scratchiness around. That's the word I use, like feelings. Just like you, and just like me, but they really are struggling human beings who are doing the best with the tools that they have to try to reach the light and let the light in. And then see if you can take another breath and expand it to all of Svat. That it's nothing that you need to do, right? You are just opening, asking Hashem, if it's your will, use my will and my heart and my intention to send your light, your healing, your wisdom, your peace paths, right? Then see if you can take another breath. See if you can expand that awareness, that intention of heart to every single being in Eretz Yisrael. They should have help and guidance in releasing their chametz, spiritual, mental, emotional, any worry, any doubt, any fear, any anger, any blame, any hatred, any resentment. Hashem should step in, Hashem and not a malach, right? Very special time because Hashem says, I will take care of it for you. Ani v'lo malach. This time it's not through messengers, it's not through agents, it's direct healing directly from source. So we set an intention now Hashem, I come before you exactly the way I am today. Parts of me with chametz, and parts of me sparkling clean, and parts of me blocked, and parts of me worried, and all the parts exactly as you would have me be today. And I know that you can use everything that's happening in my life right now as a means of a doorway to a direct experience of receiving your light, your guidance, your goodness, your love. Please help us to trust you, to trust and be able to surrender the need to control or direct, the need to hold on so tightly, the need to know when is the light coming and how is it coming, where is it coming and where am I going to find it? Will there be enough? Will I ever really feel whole? Taking a big breath and offering all of that to Hashem. Part of what we mean, says the Bnei Yisachar, when we offer a Korban Pesach, it comes from the word Pesach. And although we translate it in English as Hashem passing over, in Hebrew, it's much deeper. It's medaleg al heharim, makapetz al hagvaot. It's that we open to quantum change, quantum growth. The only thing that ever holds back all the shafa and the bracha and the light is our fear of how much change that requires in us. We're afraid of change, even great change, even bracha, right? Even getting married, buying a new house, having a new job, new, beautiful, loving relationship will require us to become something new. Right? So we offer now that fear, any resistance, and know that Hashem will be there even through the swift changes. And we can relax and know we're being birthed, we're being breathed, we're being held. Welcome, Ora Simchala. So happy to see you. Okay, so we are in Halacha Gimel. So we'll just begin by remembering that the letter of that created this whole month of Nisan is the letter Hey. One of the first places it'll show up is because the only difference between matzah and chametz is the difference between the closed chet, right? And the Hey, which is a chet with a little petach on the side, right? So the Hey in Kabbalah and Chassidut, we'll just say, we've been saying this in a lot of classes, but so for some people it's a bit of a repetition, but I think it's good. In Kabbalah, we repeat a lot. In Torah learning, we repeat, because every time there's a repetition, it's almost like a little drop of water on the stone, and it goes in a little deeper, and you get a different ha'ala, a different ray of consciousness. So the letter Hey, first and foremost, is connected to Hevel Peh, breath, right? To breath, right? To breath, right? So when we say tshuva, we can break it down into two words, tashuv, hey, bring the breath back. Remember, we learned yesterday that says that Moshe finally comes with a message of Geula, right? This is where we left off yesterday. Sorry, give me a second. Right, and it says, this is Perek Vav, this is Shmot, Chumash Shmot, Perek Vav, Pasuk Tet, right? Vayidaber Moshe ken el bnei Yisrael. What did Moshe say? So let's go back up and say, this is the message he's about to give, right? So this is Hashem's message. Hashem's coming onto the scene and saying, Ani Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. Right? So we spoke yesterday about Yud-Ke Vav-Ke being the experience of Hashem as filtered through the heart. Right? Every sfira has a name, right? And up until now, people knew and experienced Hashem through the sphere of Gvura, as Elohim. So as Hashem being scary and punishing and working through the laws of nature and the laws of cause and effect. And so that means judgment. You deserve it, you get it. You don't deserve it, you don't get it, right? That's Elohim energy. And now Hashem is ready to make a grand debut into the world, right? That there is something, an experience of God that's much deeper, that's much more whole, that's much more peaceful and compassionate and harmonious. And that is the energy of Yud He and Vav and He. So this is what Hashem is sending Moshe as a shaliach to introduce, not just to one Navi, right, like Avraham, like one person, but now to an entire Am, and they are going to later be messengers to share that message to the whole world, right? That's why we're called Am Yisrael, because Yisrael is the Partsuf, or the archetype of the heart chakra, right? Is everyone clear what I mean by that so far? And it's not heart the way we might think of it as love. That's Avraham Avinu. It's the balanced, integrated, whole, truthful, beautiful, harmonious heart. What we mean by that is no part is left in galut. No part of self, no part of community, no part of a family, no part in the world is left out, unloved, unseen, left out, left behind, unappreciated, right? Abandoned or rejected. It's a spaciousness that can include ugliness, woundedness, darkness, right? And teaches us how to balance all the various energies of self and other, masculine and feminine, our body and our spirit, all those things that cause the conflicts in us and the sense of feeling not safe or, right, not whole or not okay or not loved, right? Hashem is like, it's ready. We're ready now to activate this healing, right? So he says, Lachen. This is Hashem speaking to Moshe. Emor lebnei Yisrael, right? Emor is always, by the way, a gentle message. Dibur is a little more dugri. It's a little more Israeli. I love Israelis, but you know, it's a little bit of a, right? And we need both, right? Sometimes we need more dugri, direct, right? But emor is soft and nurturing, the way you would speak with tenderness, right? Ani Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, right? I am an energy you have not known and experienced or had the space to believe in until now, that life is compassionate. Life is meant to be beautiful and harmonious It doesn't have to be a battle every second. It doesn't have to be a feeling of shattering all the time, right? Now realize this is just the beginning of a process. So we require patience. It's not saying that this is instantaneous. It's a process. Specifically right now, it's a 3-month process that we're entering into. Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. It's a process of getting out of the 49th level of despair and helplessness and hopelessness and feeling blocked, right? That's stage 1, right? Stage 2, allowing a big burst of healing light in. Stage 3, ER, right? I would say stage 2.0, ER, integrating that light into every nook and cranny of your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and then in your spirit, right? That's Svirata Omer. And then being ready for revelation, Har Sinai, for a new personal and direct, individual and shared revelation of light. And by revelation, we mean it's going to be new. It's not just going to be a repeat performance, right? It's going to be something you don't know right now. It's not something you know and then you're going to get clarity on it. It's way bigger than that. It's something that it's not available to you right now, but it will be. It's coming. Okay? Getting excited yet? I am. Okay. I am going to bring you out from your constricted suffering. It's enough. And I am the one who is going to save you from your avodah. What's avodah? Remember, we called it avodat perach. It's effort and effort and effort, and I don't see myself getting anywhere. I don't see anything changing. That's what we call avodat parech. So much energetic input, and yet what's changing? And all we feel is what? Exhausted, depleted, and I want to serve you, God, and I want to do the work, but why is nothing opening? Okay, Hashem says, don't worry, I heard that too. That's also going to be addressed. That's the second lashon of Geulah, right? So we had Hotzeti, I'm taking you out from under the terrible suffering. Hitzalti etchem me'avodatam. And I see you're going around in circles. I see you're putting in all this effort. You're davening, you're going to kfarim, you're begging, you're crying out, you're trying, you're going to therapy, you're doing 12 steps, you're journaling, what's changing, right? Hashem's like, I see it all. I got you. I've got your back. I know. V'ga'alti etchem, right? And I am going to take you out of the stuck patterns. Bizroa netuya, with an outstretched arm. By the way, Zroa always refers to, right, Hashem's right hand, meaning an extension of chesed, a pouring out of unconditional love, right? And drawing near. Remember, the left hand pushes away, right? But the right hand draws near. Uvishvatim gdolim, right? And really it means huge, great judgments. It doesn't mean judgment as in new. It means mishpat. Mishpat, whatever is not balanced in input, output, right? Don't worry. It's coming into harmony. Velakachti etchem, and here's the next lashon, velakachti. Etchem li la'am, and I am going to draw you near to me, to be in intimate connection with me. V'hayiti lachem le'elokim, and I will be for you the source of all power, right? And anything you're going to set out to do or to be, we should add. V'yadatem, and you will know. What does that mean in the lesson of Kabbalah and Chassidut? It's not an intellectual knowing. It's a knowing. When you know someone loves you, you know. You rely on them. You're safe. You can let go. You can exhale. You're not trying to believe they love you, right? You know. That's why when we talk about Geula, it says, and the whole world will be filled with Da'at Hashem. Everyone will have the experience of knowing they're loved, not hoping to be loved, right? Or hoping they're okay, knowing. Ki ani Yud Ke Vav Ke, because I am Yud Ke Vav Ke, right? Your power. Hamotzi etchem mitachat tzivot Mitzrayim, that is going to take you out from under this enormous suffering. Veveti etchem, right? That's just step one, right? We said that's releasing the pain, but then it continues to revelation, right? Veveti etchem el haaretz. Was that? I don't know what that was. Okay. והבאתי אתכם אל הארץ אשר נשאתי את ידי לתת אותה לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. I'm going to bring you to the Aretz, right? Which means Malchut, Geula, your body, Hashem's kingdom of heaven here on earth, right? That is what Haaretz means, right? It means Zugiyut, right? Because it means to be fully in your vessel and having your vessel fully filled with light, right? And I promised this when Abraham began this journey. I promised him there will be an ending. There will be a happy ending. I promised it to Abraham. I promised it to Yitzchak. I promised it to Yaakov, right? The natati ota lachem Moshe ani Yud Ke Vav Ke, that this will be what you will inherit in the end. A world that is guided by the energy of Yud Ke Vav Ke. Yay. Okay. Step back a little, because now, Perek Tet, Vayidaber Moshe ken el bnei Israel. So Moshe comes and gives and delivers this message. Okay? So what is your experience right now? If any of you, by the way, it's being recorded. So if you feel it's too private, don't answer because it's being recorded. Would any of you just for a moment like to, what was the experience of hearing that promise from Hashem? If any of you, it could be one word, two words, one sentence. What did that feel like to receive that message? Does anybody want to share? You don't have to, or I could pause the recording if it feels private. Or, okay, somebody wrote in the chat, surrender. Anybody else want to share? It can be very tender, I know. So
would you mind just repeating the question?
Yeah, what happened for you to you in hearing that promise?
Promise that there will be an ending?
Oh, everything that I'm sorry, I had left it on because I thought somebody might need directions. So I'll just check, and I think we're well into the class, and I'll shut it off if it's not someone needing directions. It's not. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Everything that we just learned and read, right? How did that, do you want to share? It could be one word or a sentence or whatever.
But my faith knows it, but I can't feel it in my body. So it's really hard to grasp it. It's just like on one point, like, yeah, have faith. This is what we've been told all these years. Have faith. This is who's gonna come. Have faith. You're gonna get this house. Whatever it is in your life that you're struggling with, it's like have faith. But to like really like,
can I stop you right there? You said in your body. So where in your body does it bring up the resistance? Just see if you can close your eyes for a moment. We'll all close our eyes so that you don't feel like in your chest. Where in your chest? See if you can put your hand where. What is, okay, good, perfect, beautiful. What's the physical sensation? Just close your eyes. What's the physical sensation? Just tight, stuck, tingling, knives. Just throw words out. Try to describe, like I'm a 5-year-old. Describe to me what your body feels in that area of your body.
Like heated.
Heated. Does it feel
Like,
tight?
pulsating, like.
Pulsating. Does it feel open and expansive or tight and closed?
And then open. It's closed and open.
Okay, so open your eyes and listen to this. Vaydaber Moshe ken el bnei Israel. Moshe gives the message that I just shared with you guys. V'lo shamu el Moshe. And we couldn't hear it and let it all the way in. Mikotzer ruach. Exactly what you just said. From a state of
So I feel the opposite in terms of when you're asking about body.
yes.
Because I feel like in terms of my heart, I feel, oh, yes, that's it. And my mind is saying, but, it wasn't that way 100 years ago, and it wasn't that way. So I really have the opposite, and I know that this is always it. Like in my heart, I feel like open to Hashem and believing and yes. And intellectually, I have a really hard
So for
time.
you, it's happening on the level of the mochin.
Right.
Good thing matzah's on your way.
Right.
We're going to learn inside. Matzah is a remedy for the mochin. Who else had that double experience of there's a part of me that's receiving it and there's a part of me that's not able to receive this message of Geula? Does anyone else want to share? You don't have to share. It's just mamash. There's no pressure. I'm going to check.
Reva, could you repeat the message or? Is it
I
too
can't
long?
because it was the whole first part of the class.
Oh, okay.
But it's essentially the message is that I am coming now. I, Hashem, am now making my grand debut as Yud Ke Vav Ke, as the energy of the heart center, you haven't known me as this, maybe a few prophets here and there, but you as a collective people have never experienced me, right? Since Gan Eden, what the original plan was to experience Hashem as Yud Ke Vav Ke, Hu HaElokim, in this physical world of plurality, to still experience the unified, compassionate heart, right? And the unified, compassionate field of reality, that was the original plan. And then everything really got sunk into the Elohim energy, right? Of prey and predator and victim perpetrator, right? And the power structures, right? And that's what everybody thought is life and is God, right? And then maybe Abraham had this little experience in Yitzhak, and each one had a little personal awakening of that and a vision. But now what's happening is that Moshe is being chosen to give an entire people the message that Yud Ke Vav Ke is your number one source. And you are being chosen to be representatives to the whole world, to be reflectors of Hashem's compassionate heart, right? In all that you do and all that you say and all that you touch and in every money exchange, and that you are giving people the message, source is a compassionate energy. Right? You're chosen to keep reflecting that and keep reminding people, no matter how selfish it looks or mean it looks or cruel it looks, there's a bigger energy that is at the heart of everything, underlying connectivity and harmony and beauty and truth. And it's not going to be an easy mission, because everything is going to be telling a different story, right? And right? Okay, so we gave the whole message that Hashem wanted Moshe to deliver, and Moshe comes and delivers this one Hashem is Yud Kei Vav Kei, and he's heard you and he sees you, and he's going to respond to your suffering and your pain and fill every lack and show you that life really is beautiful and harmonious and creative and pleasurable and filled with love, and no creature is left out, no person is left out or abandoned. And Am Yisrael's response is complete, what do we call it? Fight, flight, and freeze. Right? Lo shamu. There's no place for that message to enter in because it's so filled with trauma, right? And the kotzer ruach, we said yesterday, is literally either holding your breath, right? Short breath. So it's either literally, right? Because right, exhale gives us a sense. When do people exhale? When they feel safe, right? They can let go. They're not on alert. They're not hypervigilant. This is a state of hypervigilance. If anybody has.
What's hypervigilance?
Hypervigilance is a trauma response that happens often to people after very severe trauma, that they're always on alert, waiting for the next shoe to drop, waiting for danger and scanning the spaces. And so they're like, is it safe? It's not safe. Is it safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Right? So that's the space they're in. Kotzer ruach, right? It's either holding your breath or it's a panic attack. Right? That's kotzer ruach.
Also the armoring in the whole muscle structure,
Right.
like rigid
Rigid. Yeah.
in order to protect, to make a klipa in order to protect us.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to we're going to transition to Rabbi Nachman. Does anybody have a question? I know that you guys missed the introduction, but that was basically what we did till now. And does anybody have just a comment or question, or also on Zoom? Oh, just checking the Zoom, the chat box. Just what we did until now.
I just got this incredible longing. I mean, I had for 1 minute and I was like, really? That could be really true? Like, I got this incredible longing with my whole body.
I saw that on your face. Yeah.
Oh, would it be true?
Can I ask somebody to please make me a cup of tea? The water's boiled. The cups are in there. I have a tea bag. Sorry, everybody. I don't know where it is. Just anything. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's go into Rabbeinu's words. Yeah, you ready? Oh, you wanted to say something? Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, so and this, by the way, each one of these is one of the 4 cups of wine. It's the 4 sons, right? This is the whole. So Hotseti. You want the actual words or the whole kind of structure of it? Yeah, Hotseti, Hitsalti, yeah, Ga'alti, Lakachti. And you can hear a progression here. We'll just say that one thing, right? Hotseti means I'm taking you out of the 49th level of Tuma, right? That's the first level. Hashem can't give us goodness in light because we're so resistant. We have to first be lifted from our resistance, what you just said, the armoring, right? Heat salty. And remember, we said that's the help in getting out of the avodat halech, the work that's so effortful, but we don't seem to be getting anywhere because we're going in circles, right? Ga'alti, and that is now I'm extending, right? Bizro anetuya. Now I'm extending an invitation. Right? And then lakachti. And then I draw you near to me into personal revelation, personal knowing of me, personal connection. You'll actually feel and know, not just believe it or hope for it, but actually experience my love for you. So beautiful, isn't it?
interesting because this concept of like surrendering has been since Corona happened. It's just like, there's no more doing. Like doing is done. It's like we just need to receive. We need to be in this receiving mode. But I feel like, I don't know, for me personally, like I feel when I'm in receiving mode, I'm not doing anything, but I am doing something. It's just really hard from like such a doer.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. It's for me, I keep hearing people say everything is done, there's nothing more to do. That doesn't resonate as true within my heart. For me personally, I'm more experiencing it as contractions of Ratso B'Shov.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
That's not like saying there's not, obviously we're living, we're breathing, there's things to be done, but it's a different kind of a voter right now.
Yeah,
Also, I think for
Yes.
me, that whole Corona thing made me just realize like, whatever I can do, I don't know what the result is gonna be. Because we had, you know, I mean, I know it's like
yes, yes.
travel plans that go, I mean, there's so many things that I was used to planning and having them happen. Just, you know, didn't happen.
So I would thank you, and I would again say again and again, because I think this may be the key meditation for all of us this year, possibly. It's our willingness to change and be changed. We say we want a whole new world. That means, do you understand the level of change that requires? So it's very much like birth. The more we resist the contractions, like the baby's coming anyway. So we can flow with the energy or work against the energy. The more we work against the energy, the more painful it feels. And the more we delay it, actually. The more we work with the energy, with the change, accept the pain even, accept the not knowing, right? Someone told me lately, I want to share this with you guys because I was doing this so much before Purim, and it was literally moving stuff in my body at quantum speeds. I could feel it, and more importantly, well, equally importantly, I could see it in my relationships. I would lie in my bed at night and feel everything that was aching and hurting in my body, in my emotional body, in my heart, right, in my mind, racing, you know, resentments or obsessive thoughts or whatever, right? And I just kept lying there and going, accept, 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 accept. Instead of, I know Bandon Bay spoke about that a lot, right? Not pushing back against anything, right? There's a deep trust that whatever is happening, we said this yesterday, but again, I never know. You guys, some of you were not there yesterday, and also I never know who's listening to the recordings. So remember that Moshe asks Hashem, what is the key in the lock? What is the experience of you? In which energy will people be able to do this, to change from a galut state to a geula state, right? And what is Hashem's answer? Tell them, Ekyeh asher ekyeh. If you can move into allowing, allow whatever needs to be, allow, allow, allow. That's the key. He was saying, teach them, Ekyeh asher ekyeh. What will be is what will be is what will be is what will be. Allow, allow. Yes, you have your vision of how you wished it would have been, and you wish that didn't end, and you wish that didn't happen, and you wish it would happen like this, and you want it to be like that. And I want to hear you, says Hashem. I want to partner with you. But that's actually more where we're in a mochin de gadlut. We're able to partner with Hashem because it's like when a child moves into young adulthood and they can have a very different relationship now with the parent. But when you're a child, you just need to receive love and support and guidance and wisdom and teachings, right? So that's the time when we just allow. We let go, we trust the parent, we trust, allow. And the more I could do that, and that's by the way, this is literally my most personal meditation that I'm sharing with you guys. It doesn't sound that intimate, but it was such an intimate experience for me. and right, allow. And step 2 is, accept, whatever word resonates better with you. It could be accept, or allow. Mekabel, right? And then step part 2 to this exercise that I was doing, and I had a really great Purim, which last year Purim was one of the hardest days I ever remember in my life. It was such a dark day. I had a very different Purim this year, and it's not lav dafka because I prepared this way. It's just Hashem sends what Hashem sends. But I do think this is a part of it, that because the next stage was dafka in those most resistant places. I tried to get as limp as I could on my bed, and I said, let the light in, let the light in, let the light in, let the light in. Right? Let it into the part that's angry at me, that Hashem didn't hear that tefillah. And we, again, these are things we shared yesterday, but they're worth repeating. Remember that we invite the maror to the Seder. We set a place for the bitterness. You're allowed to bring your bitterness to the Pesach Seder because it also needs a redemption. It needs a geula. We invite the maror, and not only do we invite it, it's one of the central 3 pillars: Pesach, matzah, maror. We invite the bitterness. Let it have a voice, because we can't be taken out of it until we allow it first. Okay, we're ready to go into Rabbi Nachman? Okay, so we are in Hilchot Pesach, Halacha Gimel. Inyan Yetziat Mitzrayim ve'achilat matzah ve'isur chametz b'mashahu. So this is going to be exploring getting out of Mitzrayim and the connection to eating matzah, and this phenomenal halacha that in most things we have the idea of batel b'shishim, that a little bit of it, if it's with enough light, we get a pass. But we don't have that with chametz. Why? Yeah, you understand the question? Like, right, batel b'shishim, if a drop of milk falls into your chicken soup, blah, 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 right? I don't want to paskin, right? But often klali, right? It's fine, right? But we
say something.
Yeah.
That however much we scrub and clean and get rid of any drop of chametz, still we can't always do it all. Like, we can't get rid of every bit of our own chametz, and there's a way to deal with it. It's mikirat chametz, not chametz gamor, but anything that we missed, and then that it's all mevutal. We declare it mevutal.
That's it.
But
That's it.
it's nothing. It's annihilated.
That's
it's
it.
varnished.
We can't do it. That's the whole point. We can't do it, but what we can do is go into total surrender. The total surrender. It may be still in my reshut. It may still be, but I completely offer it up to you, Hashem. That what we're saying is we can't hold on to some parts of it. It's the whole thing is mevutal. Okay, easier said than done. Okay, so he says, now this is just for those of you who really love the scholarly aspect. Every time Rav Nassan teaches a piece of Likutei Halachot, he is moving from a piece of Likutei Maharan. That's the basis. It's a ma'amal in Likutei Maharan, and then he's expounding that ma'amal. So we're not doing that right now, but I'll just give you the ma'amal. It's the ma'amar entitled La'iti v'hinei menorat zahav, and behold, I saw a menorah of gold, and that is Seif Chet, right? That's Torah Chet in Likutei Maharan. And he says, Ayen shama kol ma'amal, look and see there, the whole ma'amal. Shekulo sovev holech al inyan yakar hinechuni וההנחה של איש הישראלי שהוא שלמות החסרונות וכולי היה נשמה היטב. Okay, good. Everybody just take a breath. Okay. This is mamish a gewaltigly deep Torah. Okay, so Rabbeinu begins. Ki al yedei hagnuchei v'ha'anacha shehu b'chinat arichat haruach. Now remember we just read inside the pshat that we couldn't hear Moshe because of the kotzer ruach, short breath. So Rabbeinu says, if you can't hear Hashem because of short breath, by implication, you can hear Hashem if you lengthen the breath. That's the hay. Letting more breath in and letting more breath out. Okay. And we did this yesterday, so I'm not going to do all of yesterday's class, but we did all these psukim yesterday about that as soon as Bnei Israel began the tze'akah, the moaning, the sounding, right? In other words, the release. It's a beginning of surrender. It's a beginning of, I cannot hold this anymore. And I can't hold it alone, certainly. So even if we're not yet, and I know Hashem loves me, it's leaking out the awareness that I can't hold this anymore. So it might come out in and it might come out in that it's already three things. A, surrender, right? B, allowing movement. And as soon as there's movement, it's like the beginning again of a birth. It's the first contractions. There's movement, there's change possible, right? When they were just like this, nothing could change, right? It was an experience of death, of disconnection. As soon as there's then the next breath in is going to be something new. And the longer, the deeper the breath, the more life force, the more chiyut, the more God, because Hashem gives to us through ruach.
You know, it's interesting, like when you are teaching people to do deep breaths because of surgery and things like that. So, and you're using like this in a sense from these so they know how much. So you always start with the out breath. Like you always teach them first breathe all the way out, and then there's room for you to breathe all the way in.
Thank you for that. That is gorgeous. And that's exactly what Rabbeinu was saying. He says, begin with a gnuche is what we might call in Yiddish a kvetch. A klekt, right? So it's oi, right, gnuche.
In English, I think it could be translated as groan.
Groan, yes.
Oi.
Groan and moan.
Groaner and moan.
Right? And anacha is translated as a sigh. It's a release. Exactly, totally got it. He says, through this moaning and groaning and sighing, shehu b'chinat arichat haruach, which is lengthening the breath, right? B'chinat erech apayim, right? So now he's taking it even deeper. And he's saying, physically lengthening your breath, physically first, sends your body more oxygen. So it literally allows you to have more patience because your brain is getting more oxygen. So you're able to calm, and then the nervous system is going to respond in a different way. The nervous system in Kabbalah is da'at. Da'at is the nervous system. Keter is the nostrils. I know we think of Ketra as it is the crown chakra, but it's also, we call it Erech HaPayim, right? Arich Anpin. It's when you allow a big, huge breath in through your nostrils. You're connecting in Keter, and it's having a direct effect on Da'at, calming the nervous system.
And that's how Hashem will do that.
Yes. So it's an immediate rebirth, right? Exactly. I don't know if they heard you once, so I'm going to say it again. Can I say your name? So Safira Rachel said, this is how Hashem brought Adam to life, right? By blowing into his nostrils. And that wasn't a one-time thing. That every breath is a new beginning, is a renewal. Okay, so he says, Bechinat Erech HaPayim. By Erech HaPayim here, we literally mean lengthening your breath through the nostrils, lengthening your nose. That's what it means, taking a big breath in through your nose. Right? And then we also mean the effect that that has on the whole system, on trauma response, on kotzer ruach. Al yedei zeh mamshichim ruach chaim lehachisolon. And through this, we send life force, light, right, into any lack that we have. Again, what is he saying? Our physical body had a lack from the kotzer ruach. That what was the physical lack was oxygen, right? The physical lack was the red blood cells, right, carrying the oxygen and distributing it through the blood, right, and making sure the whole body is getting oxygenated, if that's a word, oxygenized, whatever, right? But that's also a mashal. It's both physically true, and it's also a mashal of limiting. When we're kotzer ruach, we're limiting Hashem's presence. We're limiting the amount that Hashem can come in to the tight places and the hurting places, and this, right, what we call mitzayim.
You said Eitzan?
No, Mitzrayim.
Mitzayim, right? One of the things we learned yesterday is that the Mekubalim teach that the physical, there's two physical parts in the body, which are really only one, because there's an upper one and a lower one. In the upper, it's the neck. In the lower, it's the birth canal. It's the same in Chinese medicine. It's the same in Kabbalah. So we said yesterday again, the shoulders are the same as the hips. The jaw is the same as the pelvis. The mouth is the same as the birth canal, right? And then that's just the opening, right? So we would call that in Hebrew the makol. Are you with me? Following? So the mouth has the makol, where the entryway is, and then it has the whole birth canal. Does that make sense? What we're saying? And so Kabbalah always teaches that they're mirror images. One is happening in a lower consciousness, a more earthy consciousness. One is happening in more of a human being / divine consciousness, right? Because what, by definition, to be called a human being is to be called a medaber, right? One who knows how to use speech, right? One who knows how to create through speech. This is one type of creating that animals know how to create in that way also. So this is the part that in creativity that we share with animals. It doesn't make us bad. I don't mean like, oh, it's animalistic. I mean, it's earthy, and it's the part of us that shares space with the animal kingdom, right? Albeit, of course, we have Kedusha and Tara to elevate it. But this is not something that animals do.
They don't have articulated speech like we humans do, but they do have calls and sounds to communicate with.
Absolutely.
And they might have a level of consciousness. It's hard to know.
It's hard to know. The Mekubalim make the definition in the level of bechira around speech, how you use your speech, what you choose to communicate and what you choose to not communicate. Right? And specifically, part of what we're working through Nissan and the Seder, right? According to the Mekubalim, is reattaching heart and speech by opening this. This is the place that disconnects and strangles and cuts off the air and the life force between what I say and maybe what I really feel, or what I feel and don't say, like when I'm keeping it in and suppressing.
You know, I just thought, like, if the essence of Bani Israel is that we're using our speech the Torah sense, right? Like we're the essence of
Amen. Hallelujah.
humanity and using that. And where it says actually what is the makor or the shmira, which also says like with Darat Mishpachan, the purity of the Ben Adam is also the same purity, like what do you let in, what do you don't let in. And with the mouth, it's the same thing. And it's completely connected. Like even in birth now, midwives are saying during birth, open your mouth.
Absolutely.
Like,
But my teacher taught me this 25 years ago. My doula teacher taught me, tell a woman, if you clamp your mouth, you're clamping the birth canal.
wow.
If you open and relax your jaw and mouth, you're opening and making space for the baby.
And my daughter's birthday, the regular midwives in the hospital were saying that. Open your mouth, open your mouth. But it's essence the same, then it's that's exactly connected. That's what Kushana is in both places.
And someone just shared with me a birth that she facilitated, where they were saying to the woman at the peak of her contractions, accept, 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 accept. And she said, this is her second birth. And the baby, she said, when she went into that, the baby literally slid out of her. Instead of going, accept, 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 she was like, ah. And she said the baby just bloop.
That's the whole concept of hypnobirthing.
Yeah.
Because there's no pushing.
Yes, so she was doing hypnobirthing and she didn't push.
Actually, the hypnobirthing, it's called J breathing, and you actually breathe. It's talk about breathing. It's not pushing.
Yeah.
It's actually J breathing. It's breathing.
Yeah, that's what she did. By the
And
way.
then there was a yoga birth. We actually.
Okay, wait. I want, because of,
Sorry.
no, only because of the people listening to the recording, we can share about birth stories after, if it's okay. But I'm going to go back into the text because I'm sorry. I hope
It's
that,
just so beautiful.
I know, I can do this all day, literally. Okay. Al yedei zeh mamshichin ruach chaim lachisaron. Right, so on the most literal level and the most esoterical level, it's to allow allow a healing energy into the space, and he's calling the space your lack, whatever the lack is, right? The lack of the release from the pain, the lack of the bracha that we're waiting for, the lack of the shafa, right? Instead of going, why is there a lack? Why is there a lack? Right? This is what I was saying about lying in your bed and being accept, 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 and then allow the light into that lack, the lack that's most hurting you, right? Allow, just allow. So allow the pain to be there around the lack. Right, so we're acknowledging the lack, we're allowing the pain to be there, and then we're consciously sending light into the lack. 3 parts. Okay. So he says, Al yedei zeh nishlam hachisaron. Through this practice, the lack gets filled. Through this practice, the lack gets filled. Nishlam hachisaron.
I still can't hear.
Nishlam hachisaron.
Okay.
Okay. So he says, Ach, mehechan mekablim haruach chaim hu me'atzadik hador כי ממנו תוצאת רוח חיים לכל אחד. So now I'm not going to go too deeply into this because I would like to take us somewhere else. But he's almost saying, where do you access that ability to breathe deeply when you're in the state of kotzer ruach, right? So he says, you can imagine almost like the tzaddik, almost like being your lungs, right? Breathe into, but almost like borrow the tzaddik's lungs, because the tzaddik has so much emunah and the light and goodness of Hashem. So almost allow yourself to borrow the tzaddik's lungs and imagine how a tzaddik would let Hashem's ruach into them, to every nook and cranny, right, of life, allowing that trust in, allowing that belief in Hashem's goodness, and not having any resistance to like, I'm not sure you're good, Hashem, and I'm sure you love me, right? So he's saying, if you don't know how to do that, borrow the tzaddik's lungs. Isn't that a gorgeous meditation? Okay, so he says, because the tzaddik knows how to hold so much space for their own and everyone else's lacks, right? Right? That they're holding that space for you because they're a neshama Rashid, a Rosh B'nai Israel, right? So you can lean into them and borrow that ability from their lungs. Just ki ikar ruach, okay. Ki ikar ruach hachayim hu behaTorah, because they're sourcing that life force from Torah. They know how to source it literally from Torah. And if we are not able to do that, we can borrow their lungs. It's not just the most beautiful teaching. Okay, I'm going to check the chat box for a second. Oh, okay. Moshe literally went through that revelation. Yes. Say that again. Oh, you know how good I am about saying things again. The last thing. Okay, I'll try. The tzaddik knows how to energize and fill every lack through the Torah, because it's the Torah is wellsprings of light, right? Of consciousness. And by the way, there's two, let's not forget always, we have two wells, Torah shebichtav, Torah sheba'al peh. Those are two energetic pools of light, the written word and the spoken word. They're both wells of light and consciousness. Okay, so let's see, or as Simcha asked, we say it again. So the tzaddik knows how to fill every lack by plugging into the wellsprings of the life force in Torah. And if we don't know how to do that directly, or if our own resistance or pain or suffering gets in the way, we can borrow the lungs of the tzaddik and imagine, what does it feel like to breathe as a tzaddik who lets Hashem penetrate every single cell of their body, being in total yichud and surrender.
So the way, how do you do that?
Do you guys want to try it for a moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so ideally, but you don't have to, ideally uncross your arms and legs. You don't have to if it's more comfortable for you. It just allows the flow through more easily. See if you can release holding anything in your hand from your hands and keep your palms up. Again, if you can, again, it just allows more energy to flow through you. We'll just begin by breathing comfortably, relaxed. If it's easy for you to breathe through your nose, for some people it's not. Either they're congested or they have a deviated septum. If it's easy for you to breathe through your nose, what we're calling arich anpin, and it's to receive life force in through the sfira of keter. Remembering that when you're breathing in through your nostrils, you're taking in the all from the All Ein Sof, right? the undifferentiated, perfectly unified source of all life. And the very fact that it's in perfect unity means there's no judgment. Judgment is already a state of duality and gvura. So in that perfect unity, remember that Keter is represented by the letter Aleph, the perfect unity. So just allowing that air in through Arich Anpin. Arich Anpin is the state of patient waiting. But that patient waiting is deeply grounded in Emunah. In other words, you know and you believe that the next breath is coming and will be available for you, Bezrat Hashem. And that knowing and believing that that next breath is coming allows you to relax and exhale. You don't have to hold on to that breath and keep it in you forever, because there'll be a new breath and maybe a better breath and a deeper breath. So there's Emunah as you breathe in, and there's Emunah as you surrender that breath. Its time is over, let it go. Trusting that a new breath will be available for you. Now see if you can experience in your body where you pause between the between the exhale and the new inhale, and pause and notice that you don't need to grab for the new breath from a state of, oh no, there may not be breath available to me, right? You don't have to force the air in. You don't have to grab at life. See if you can transition into a gentle surrender that Hashem will breathe that next inhalation into you, and you're just open and available to receive it. So inhale through Arich Anpin. Surrendering and letting go that just was. And then pausing and waiting patiently and with Emunah and Bitachon for the next breath to be offered you. And all you're doing is receiving it. You're not forcing it, you're allowing it. And if you notice in the pause between the exhale and the inhale, any anxiety, any fear around, will I get enough air? When is the air coming? Is it going to fill me? Is it going to be a deep enough breath? Where is it, God? How come you're not breathing into me yet? Just notice what you notice and release it and surrender it back to Hashem. This next inhalation, exhalation, and in the pause, see if you can lengthen sitting with the lack. Sitting with the lack, feeling the lack feeling the emptiness. You've trusted and you've surrendered. You've released the exhale. And see if you can release the exhale more and more deeply. Push the air out of your lungs till you're really empty. And then sit with the emptiness and see what that feels like. See how long you can be in Emunah and in relaxation and acceptance, and truly allow the next breath to be offered to you in total trust. You don't have to grab at it. You don't have to worry that you won't breathe. See if you can, even if it's a fraction of a millimeter, see if you can move that waiting into something just the tiniest bit more surrendered and soft and uneffortful. Now, the next inhale and exhale, see if when between the pause of the exhale and the inhale, see if you can allow the breath into you as slowly as possible so that you're actually really conscious in the reception of this one next new breath. Not taking it for granted, noticing anything and everything you can about it. Noticing the temperature as it hits your nostrils. Noticing the relief and the release to have that tiny little bit of oxygen coming back and returning. Noticing how good it feels in your whole system, right? To let the breath, let the oxygen back in. And see if you can play with your koach medame, with your imagination, to imagine this is the first breath of your new life. What does that feel like to receive the first breath of your new life? Now, this next shlav, see if when you inhale, you can allow just that one breath to travel through your body and your heart and your mind and your neshama, and fill it and rejuvenate and bring love and light to any pain, any lack, any fear in your life. And your next inhalation, And see if you can exhale and push out as much air as possible. Sound if you need to. Push out any block, any negativity, any old story, any old idea, any bitterness, any resentment, so that it might even be a or ah. It doesn't have to be theatrical. Just let it be authentic. It may be silent, but let it be real. Let it move out of your system. Any pain, any trauma, any hurt. Breathing in, I receive Hashem's healing and light. Breathing out, I surrender control. I surrender all the old stories and patterns. Breathing in, I allow Hashem's light to heal every wound and every lack, every empty space in my being, in my life, in my story, in this Gilgul, in any other Gilgul. Breathing out, I surrender control. Take 2 more breaths, and we'll come back into the space. Slowly wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, feel the chair or the couch under your bottom, or the bed if you're lying down, or feel the floor underneath your feet. Shake your hands. If you went very deeply out of your body, open your eyes and see if you can find 2 yellow things in the room. It's a grounding technique. See if you can spot 3 black things. It's a way of bringing your consciousness fully back into your body. Oh, Lana's here.
Hi.
In the Eitz HaChaim, right, in the tree of life, The lungs are connected to the element of breath and air. But the heart, which is, you'll notice, slightly off to the left, so it's slightly on the side of the gvuot, right, is fire. Pesach is all about fire. It's using the energy of the heart and fire to fix unhealed fire. Right? It's very homeopathic. We do this a lot in Kabbalah, right? We use the element in its healing form and essence to fix the energy of it in its imbalance, right? So that we're going to have fire. We're going to take a candle and search for the chametz. We're going to roast the korban Pesach. We're going to burn the chametz. Sorry, I did that a little out of order. Sorry. So maybe I'll say it again. We're going to search with the candle. We're going to burn the chametz. We're going to roast the korban Pesach because it's all about purifying the heart. Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, fixing the heart. You're going to see this a lot throughout the Seder. But let's go back a tiny bit into Rabbeinu, where I feel like there's been a lot of movement of energy. Actually, no. I could pause the recording also if anybody wants to share on a more personal level. Would anybody like the recording paused for a moment? Are you okay?
Is that unification of the heart like the almost two sides?
The heart, you'll notice if you ever look at a picture of the Sfirot, is almost like a traffic center, right? Everything gets directed. All the Sfirot at some point make contact with Tiferet. So if Tiferet is locked or blocked or closed or aching, the whole system gets backed out. But again, remember, we are the living embodiment. I say we, Am Yisrael, are the living embodiment of Zah. Is there Anpin, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Tiferet, it's all the same thing. Right? As what we call the compassionate heart, the integrated heart, the harmonious heart. I was going to go into text, but I'm feeling that some of you may be feeling tender or vulnerable. Does anybody either want support for something that they just experienced by being heard or by asking for help? Or does anybody want to share? That's a great, your yawning is, that's actually releasing a lot of energy. Or does anybody want to share anything about their experience? And if you do you want the recording paused?
I know I've always loved that space of not breathing. And it's a very powerful, complete surrender space that if you don't put the breathing in and breathing out. I've been having asthma since I was born, and it comes with it probably. When I opened up to your breathing, I almost felt like my nose started to twinkle and tickle, and I visualized this olive, and I felt the two sides of my nose became Yu's and the nose itself, the middle became a Vav. And it just all connected, and I feel this sound, and I started crying. I feel this complete abundance of Hashem through the air, like coming inside and just like enveloping us. And I feel like, this is us that keeps everything blocked, by being unaware of all this chesed and love that Hashem wants to give to us. And thank you. That was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Who else felt that they were going to cry? Like that. It
Who
was,
else felt what?
that they were going to cry. That there isn't. I also had that experience that there was so much love available and light available that when you slow it all down, and you take it in incrementally, it's like, oh, I didn't know there's so much love available, because it's always the next breath, the next thing, right? What about my next breath? Wait a second. Whoa. Right. Does anyone want to share anything else?
I didn't feel like I felt like a sense of peace and so in the same like I really felt the Emunah, like having the Emunah, but like when I was breathing out, it was having that bitachon. And the bitachon was like, okay, you're getting back to Shana, you're getting back to who you really are, you're returning to yourself. And I stopped meditating and I realized that like, 'cause I'm so busy with work and just to sit down, like even like now, like clients calling, it's Pesach, I'm like, no, this is Shana time, sit down, like, but like giving myself space to like not like you said, like not this the next best thing, but like Emunah, bitachon.
We all responded to that. It was a collective.
Just living it, and it's like, how is Hashem supposed to like tell me my next move if I'm so full of myself? Like not in a
No, I understand. Full, that you're
like,
full with
that I'm
whatever is
full
right.
with my own things that I think are right, when there's no space. There's no space. It's like, okay, meditation, that's being intention, being moment.
And I never understood it was just words. So I like expanding your nostril, expanding your
Lengthening.
lengthening. I don't know what unpeel means.
It means you're off. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even
Like
know.
arich anpi means to lengthen your nose.
So like I was imagining that it was like and going up and going to
And filling your keter.
It was the first time I really was able to really experience Arif Akpi, which was like, and then when you said like feel how the breath feels, like what temperature is that? Like, that was like incredible.
Right? It's like slowing everything down. And this is why we say that part of the fixing of this month is the tikkun of malchut. How do you receive something? You can receive all goodness, all light, all love, all presence of Hashem in one breath. Slow it down and notice everything you notice because it's been given to you. Notice that first point of contact. For me, it was like relief, air is coming back, because I start to go in a little bit of a panic, like, when is the next breath coming? When is the next breath coming? I'm not supposed to grab for it, but right? When is it coming? And then that point of contact, when it starts to return, and I'm like, oh, it's coming back, which really means the light coming back, right? And slow it down and see if it has a color. See what is, just contact the inside of your nostril, right? What does it feel like as it goes up your nostril and enters into the cavity behind your eyes? It begins to fill your skull. What does it feel like? There's so much available. So I just want to, I'm kind of feeling that this was a lot and enough. I'm always in that state of ratzo, usually, like more and more, but it's feeling like a very beautiful place to maybe end. What are you guys feeling? And what time is it now?
I just want to thank you so much. My sinuses opened up.
Oh.
And I felt my heart opening at the same time, and the sense of peace and alignment, like a kind of line of energy. But I'm talking about something in words that was beyond words. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Also for me, it was my legs are still tingling with energy and my palms are still vibrating.
Yeah, I think for me also what was interesting is when you were talking about letting the breath in
And even before you said it, I like it was lit up, which I felt like, I mean, my eyes were still closed and I'm still in the same room. But it felt light. It felt like, you know, as if like I was seeing new light. So that was really interesting.
Wow.
And the other thing is that there's something going on within my extended family that's difficult. And although I have, by Corona and all kinds of other things, been giving up control, I still think like, oh, should I do this, should I do that? And I don't know, I just was feeling, well, you know, like I'll be there for them as I am, you know, for them. And may, you know, like I would like to, you know, in terms of time, be there more often and stuff. But it just felt like, you know, it's not, I'm not going to control what's going to happen. And, you know, they've all got their own journeys and their own relationship with Hashem. And, you know, like I can be something to them, but I'm not going to be the one that makes everything, you know, different. I don't know, it was just a very peaceful kind of, like not, it's interesting because not detachment from them, but just more of a calm place.
Remember, we've spoken about this many times. Mati below mati. Mati below mati. That's where the space where the air comes in. Remember, we spoke about this with the mommy eagle hovering over the nest. She's not touching, whether it's the eggs or whether it's the goslings. She doesn't touch so as not to impose upon them, but she offers protection and love and shade. Right? This is one of my favorite images in Kabbalah. And it's an image that I hold as a goal for me. I'm not saying I always am able to sustain it, obviously, but it's the image of relationshiping that I hold in my head to try to bring me back into balance of mati velo mati, presence, but not overbearing and not detachment and coldness, not abandoning, presence, but, and also it's very dynamic, right? She keeps adjusting her wing fluctuation every moment in response to what is in the space. I love that imagery. Okay, does anybody want to remember the Rabbi Nachman says the point of any learning and any text learning, any experience is to ground it into our malchut, into our vessel through either a bracha or a tefillah. So does anyone want to take anything they received?
The merit of this beautiful learning, which is it's so important because Torah isn't thoughts, isolated thoughts. It relates to our body, it relates to physical reality. And all the energy and the goodness of this learning should go into the world, bringing peace where it's needed, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Ethiopia, in Israel, in all of Israel. Peace and harmony and goodness and truth.
Amen. Thank you, Hayala.
Are you teaching next week?
So let me stop the recording, shut the Zoom. 1 second. Let me just stop this and then we'll all decide together. Stop recording. Yeah. Okay.